You're listening to Expat Radio, your worldwide friend.
I'm just pressing up team buttons here to try and get them on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, we're travelling at 45,000 feet. Look out the window now.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Jason. I'm good.
Very good. You're looking well, considering.
Well, it's early, but not that early. So you're coming to Vegas?
Yeah, mate. It looks like it. Yeah, I might be showing my face over there. Morning, Jason. How are you?
Good morning. How are you guys?
I'm very well, sir. Very well. Yeah, I've been invited over to... Good thought. This is a bit surreal, this. I've been invited over to meet Bruno Mars and Bobby Wilson. And he just said, oh, yeah. He said, we'll hang out together. And I'm like... And I'm thinking, there's no way in a month of Sundays Bruno Mars is going to understand anything that's coming out of my mouth.
I think that might be true. You'll have to practice, Dave.
I know. I'll have to. It's all knuckle language though over there, isn't it? It's all everyone's giving it the. It's not a high five anymore. It's all knuckles. You have to touch fists.
This is true.
This is true. It is. It's nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. The kissing's nice as well. I enjoy that bit. The kissing with the women, not with the blokes. Oh, not doing that again.
Well, hold on. That's France. We got to come over there to get all that.
Oh, no.
business.
No, seriously. Well, you'd have laughed, but I'm just going to tell you a quick story. This English guy that moved over here many moons ago, he came over and he met these two old boys that were sat in the cab. It's like the little garage, but they had this homebrew on the go. They were drinking their own homemade red wine. And they both sat there, these two old boys in boiler suits, and they're swigging this stuff away. One of them was called Jean-Claude, and I can't remember what the other one was called. But all I can remember is his wife was shouting, Jean-Claude! That's all they could hear, this woman shouting all the time. But anyway, this English guy then goes into this garage, and he says to me, oh, I want to meet the neighbours. I went, well, they're busy. He says, no, I won't go in. So he goes in and introduces himself, shakes hands and everything. And they give him a glass of this homebrew. Well, it's like... You could launch the shuttle off it. It was that powerful, this stuff. It was eau de vie. They give him eau de vie plus a glass of this homemade red wine. Well, the next thing is, obviously, he's trying to focus on him. He can't see that. Because he's had the glass of this. He's only been there 3 minutes. And at the end of the conversation, they said, anyway, we've got to go back in. So they're saying, bonjour, au revoir, and they're going to go in. And he grabbed him, and he went to kiss him. And I'm going, whoa, what are you doing?
Oh, no.
And he said, well, I thought you kissed over here. I said, yeah, if you're gay, yes. I said, but if you hardly know the people. I said, you just shake their hand. You don't go up and kiss a bloke that you don't know. And I said, you'll be getting a reputation. These two old blokes are absolutely on their knees laughing their heads off. Couldn't believe what he was doing.
Oh.
Yeah, so, yeah. So he's still living.
Yeah.
He's still walking around somewhere, this guy, but what a nutter.
Yeah. Don't do that when you come to Vegas. Please don't do that.
No. Have you seen that big fight that broke out that's all over YouTube about these women in bikinis that were kicking off with each other? There was a massive fight. I know. It happens. God, it was like a big free for. There's about 30 women all brawling on the strip in Vegas, apparently. Or is it Miami? Could be wrong. It could be Miami.
Could be. Okay. We have a busy show today. I am here with Jason Wood, and I'm going to tell you guys why and how. I'm not really 100% sure how we connected, but I think I may have posted something on Instagram and hashtagged it with, obstacle course something, and you may have found it that way. And then I was like, who's this dude? And then I found your Instagram page, and I was like, whoa, I have to talk to this guy. And the story that then, we chatted for a while, and it's such an inspiration. And I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to do any of that. But I have to tell you, after we talked and I posted your picture and said, this dude's coming on the radio with me. This is going to be such an awesome time. Like, the feedback from my followers were like, oh yeah, who's this guy? Oh my gosh, this guy's gonna, it was like overwhelming. I was like, well, hold on, I've never gotten this kind of response from anything. So I was like, well, this is gonna be awesome. So everyone in the world, I want you to meet Jason Wood, and I'm going to have you tell everyone a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to dive into your story and talk about what you're up to and ask some questions and all those sorts of things. So welcome.
No, thanks. I've been waiting for this for a long time now, so I'm really excited to be on. And Yeah, so I'm Jason Wood. I'm 37 years old. I'm from the Virginia Beach area of Virginia. I'm a former collegiate athlete turned 7-year United States Army combat veteran. And then once I left the military, I became a full-time employee working defense contracting, found obstacle course racing, decided to pursue my PhD. And but most importantly, I think I'm a father to a beautiful 4-year-old daughter and love it to death. So that's just the 50,000-foot view of Jason Wood. So, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, that's definitely the 50,000-foot view, because I was looking over my notes from it must have been a couple of months ago by now that we chatted, and I have 5 pages of notes about it during our conversation. And so I want to dive into your story, and we have like 45-ish minutes or so with a few songs. And so I think what we'll do, since we started off with some stories this morning, we'll take a quick break, and I think Dave's got a song queued up. He hasn't shared that with me this morning. So Dave, what song are you going to...
suspense. Bit of Phil Collins for you.
Thank you. We'll be back with Jason Wood after we listen to Phil Collins.
Yes.
I love hanging it on a string.
I know you do. I love Phil Collins. He's like takes me back to high school. Am I dating myself?
How old?
Gosh, I am.
How old? Was that when they had penny farthings out as well?
When I rode my dinosaur to work.
Yeah. Whip crack
Oh, my
away,
gosh.
whip crack away. Whoosh. Saunders.
Oh my God. Dave. Okay, we are back with Mr. Jason Wood this morning, and Jason has an amazing story, an amazing journey, and I am super inspired and pumped for you all to hear his story. And so my main goal today is to get people to know you. So can you share with us about your journey and all that is you in 5 to 10 minutes?
Yeah, no. I think I can talk to that limited amount of time. No, you're good. So yeah, I think I ended up. I grew up in Virginia Beach area. My parents were both teenagers when they had me, so obviously kind of limited resources there. But my parents did what they had to do to put food on the table and a shelter over our heads, and they worked very hard, and I think I got a chance to view their work ethic and learn from that. And as I grew up, I kind of applied that to everything in my life, everything from academics to sports. And I was just very fortunate at an early age to be kind of do well at both. And it wasn't necessarily because of talent, but it was because of the work ethic that I put into both. And eventually, through elementary, middle school, and then on into high school, I realized I had enough talent to be able to get a scholarship to college to play athletics. And so I decided to go to a small school in Kentucky called the University of the Cumberlands on a football scholarship. But there was also a good chunk of money that was going to have to be paid because it was only a partial scholarship. And so my guidance counselor kind of led me in the direction of the Reserve Officer Training Corps contract, which is a ROTC contract, which kind of locks you into military service should you fulfill your contract throughout college. And so I signed a 4-year ROTC scholarship, which paid the rest of my college off. So kind of relieving that burden to myself and my parents of having to try to provide for my, college education. So, at 18 years old, I packed my bags and drove the 8-9 hours. Actually, I took a Greyhound bus, so it was like 21 hours to college. And so went to college for 4 years, played 4 years of football for the University of the Cumberlands, and then when I graduated on May 8th, 2004, I graduated and got my commission into the Army the same day. So I became a second lieutenant in the military, the same day I graduated college. And a week later, I was stationed at Fort Eustis, Virginia, so about 15 minutes from where I was born and raised.
Wow.
So that was convenient. And then I would, that journey kind of started. And really, the journey started while I was still in college. When I originally signed my ROTC scholarship, it was before September 11th, 2001. It was in 1999. And so I was joining the military with a perspective that, I was going to, not deploy and not have all the things that it would eventually happen to me. So when 9/11 happened during my sophomore year in college, I kind of knew things were going to change, kind of how my career was going to go post college graduation. So graduated May 8th of 2004, and by October of 2004, I was already in Iraq for the first time. I deployed for a year up in the northern part of Iraq, called an area called Mosul. Spent some time there. Came back home for 8 months. The whole time gearing up for my second deployment. Another year-long deployment from 2005 to 2006. In that deployment, I was doing the gun truck mission where we were escorting logistics convoys all over the roads of Iraq to different bases in Iraq. And then once I was done with that year, I came back home for a year, and then they shipped me off for another year in Iraq. And during that time, I was a commander in the Baghdad area. And so spent a year there, came back home, served as an aide to a two-star general for about 18 months, and then decided to try my hand at the civilian world. And so I got out of the military, would go on probably a month after I got out of the military to meet my daughter's mother, and we started a relationship. And then I joined a defense contractor, started my life as a civilian employee, kind of got into some volunteer work and was really heavy into nonprofit kind of volunteer work. And then as time went along, I kind of found myself, losing my identity, kind of losing who I was, was kind of got away from the fitness aspect. Never really knew from a personality perspective who I was, just because of, as a person, just because of my military service kind of was my identification of who I was. It was I was Jason Wood, Lieutenant Wood, Captain Wood kind of thing. It was directly tied to my military service. So didn't know who I was when I got out, and I think that caused a lot of issues with my relationship, along with the fact that I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, so PTSD, once I got out, and I didn't know how to deal with that. Wasn't really the one to talk about my feelings and talk about my emotions, so kind of bottled that stuff up. And it affected me long term. And then we had our daughter about 4 years ago. And about 2 years into that, I was just kind of a complete mess. And we decided to separate. And it really rocked my whole life. And so I was left kind of alone in a lot of ways. But trying to find, really at that moment, that was the do or die moment for me. I had to find myself and who I was, and be a better example for my daughter, and just be a better person. And so, right around that time, I was probably about 220, 230 pounds, so probably about 50 pounds heavier than I am right now, completely out of shape mentally and physically. And so, about a year and a half ago now, I'd say maybe a little bit over that, I happened to come across this wonderful sport of obstacle course racing and Spartan race, and on a Groupon deal, signed up for that Groupon deal. Yeah, I love Groupon, by the way. But I signed up for that race all alone, decided to go out and compete in the open division of that race, and completely and utterly, was horrible at it. I was completely out of shape, almost, felt like I was dying at the finish line. But at the same time, kind of fell in love with the sport, kind of fell in love with the community. And it was kind of one of the things that helped kind of push me along my journey. And then obviously my why in life is my daughter. I mean, everything I do and everything I think about doing is ultimately with my daughter in mind. And there was a time before that Spartan race kind of happened that I looked at her and I just knew I wasn't being the father and being the man that I needed to be for her. And so I call it my come to Jesus moment, when I was kind of looking in the bathroom mirror and kind of an emotional wreck at that moment, and just knew hey, I got to change something. Something's got to change, or she's going to see somebody that she does not respect and that she doesn't want to have it as an example growing up in life. And so I decided that day to make that change, and that's when I signed up for the Spartan race, and then did that, finished it, and then started kind of my journey along this path of fitness, and then ultimately just emotional and mental kind of rehabilitation on my life, trying to find who I was and find an identity for me. And then as I went along that, I started collecting followers on Instagram and social media, and while I was out in the festival areas, and people talking about how, inspiring kind of my story was. And from there, I think that inspired me to just keep pushing further. And today I can say I'm 180 degrees a different man than I was 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's been a fun and amazing journey for me, and I'm happy kind of where I'm at right now. I feel very, very content with the person I am. Obviously, I'm going to want to push to be a better person every day. But it's to see where I've come from to where I'm at today has been quite the journey, and it kind of makes me kind of emotional talking about it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's what inspired me, just listening to you talk about where you've been and how you've used certain aspects of the racing and the physical, changing your physiology and all those sorts of things is really intriguing, and the mindset that comes with that. And so let's take a quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to ask you a few questions about that. And we're going to listen to Usher, DJ's Got Us Falling in Love, and we will be right back. Welcome back to... Welcome back to I'm going to call it, I haven't really said this much, but my show is called The Heartbeat, and I don't really put it out there much. I'm not sure why, but we're listening to The Heartbeat with my special guest, Jason Wood, today.
Because you're very shy. You're very shy, aren't you?
I'm very what?
Shy. That's one thing about you. You're very shy. You need to, get out there more.
Yeah, you could say that, Dave. I guess shy is a good word.
Yes,
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's The Heartbeat with Christine Saunders on Expat Radio.
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Thank you, Dave.
I wondered what it was going to be called for the last 3.5 centuries since you've been doing the show, but now the penny's just dropped. I'm over the moon.
Oh, yay, I'm excited. Yeah, so welcome back to The Heartbeat with Christine Saunders and my special guest, Jason Wood. Yay! I have so many questions, but like I said, we only have a limited space of time, so I'm just going to launch, and it'll be like speed questions, like speed dating kind of thing, so...
Jason, your life's never going to be the same after this. You realise this, boy, don't you? Just brace yourself, mate, because there'll be all sorts happening here that at the end of it, you'll think, what the hell happened there? What was the last 45 minutes that just hit me like a train?
This is awesome.
Awesome. Okay, so we kind of talked about some questions that we might talk about today, but the one thing, and I want to just go back a little bit, and what does being a retired Army combat veteran mean to you?
Well, I mean, I think ultimately it's not necessarily my time in service, but it's the service itself. I think being in the military and serving my country taught me a lot of values that I've kind of transitioned into civilian life. I think I feel like my life now. And I think this holds true for a lot of veterans. We want to come back home and still be of service to our communities, to our families, to our neighbors. And so I think for a lot of veterans, it's the ability to find that purpose to come back home and serve again. And that's kind of what I've tried to find. That's kind of the purpose I've been trying to find in my life, is what can I do to serve people and to make sure that the legacy that I leave behind one day is something that it's not monetarily valued. It's not something that's physical. It's he served us as a family or a father or whatever it may be, in a way that we'll remember him for who he was, vice what he brought to the table.
That's beautiful. I think that people really don't understand that about that aspect. So I appreciate you sharing that, because I think coming from someone who's been in the service, like, people don't realize that that's a purpose that veterans have. And so that's fantastic. I appreciate you giving that out so people can have some more understanding and some empathy. And so my next question, going back to your first race.
Yeah.
This first time when you're like in it, I got this Groupon, I'm in it, let's go.
Yep.
Was there ever a moment during that first race where you're like, I'm done, I want to give up, I'm done?
Yeah. So, I think I got like maybe a quarter mile in, and I was like, what did I get myself into? But I definitely have. I've grown up kind of with a no quit attitude, but I got to the bucket carry in Virginia, and it was demoralizing for me, because I had come from a background as a football player where lifting heavy things and moving people around and doing that kind of physical thing was just that was supposed to be my jam. And I dropped the bucket probably about 50 times in that first race, and I was just again demoralized. It was probably the closest I've ever come to quitting in a Spartan race. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. How much does this bucket race or this bucket weigh?
Well, it's supposed to weigh 80 pounds. So yeah, I think I don't know though. I think like back then that was before Spartan Race capped the bucket. So now it's supposed to be a little bit more standard at 80 pounds. But back then you were supposed to fill your own bucket with the rocks and everything. So it could have been. I don't know how much it weighed.
It's basically the same weight as a woman's handbag, isn't it, Jason? That's what you've got to remember. Hey, it's normal.
I'm not going there.
Well, yeah. Well, women. If women were in this race, you'd be like, "Hell, my God!" It's a night out for a woman. That's got high heels, and she's running down the course, and you're there carrying a bucket, thinking, "My God!" But I'm losing the will to live.
That's what it felt like.
I know. Well, now you know what women are like going on a night out.
Oh, wow. So during the break, we kind of chatted a little bit about this last weekend, and tell me what happened with the bucket race this last weekend.
So yeah, I got a chance to. I ran my 2 heats, which were the kind of the elite heats now is what I run. And so on Sunday for the sprint race, which is about a 5K, 3.4 miles a race, I decided to go out and kind of do what I considered kind of a fun run, just kind of get out, shake the legs loose, and practice some of the obstacles. And while I was running, I got to the bucket carry and picked up the bucket and just started jogging with it like I do now. I mean, I'm not the fastest bucket carrier in Spartan Race, but I'd say I put myself up there. Mm-hmm. And so I'm carrying the bucket and jogging along and trying to motivate some of the open heat folks that were out there running. And I got probably about a quarter of the way into the bucket carry, and I just noticed people dropping the bucket and sitting on the bucket and getting frustrated with themselves. And it just took me back to that first race. I mean, it was literally looking in the rearview mirror for myself and seeing kind of where I had come from physically and mentally, and that mental strength to keep pushing and endure the pain and all the different things that I've learned over the last year and a half, 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it was literally, I was telling people I was getting almost emotional on the course because it was that I was looking myself in the mirror, but it was that 2 year difference. It was that guy that was looking at himself in the mirror 2 years ago saying something has to change, looking forward to the person that I am today. And it was a lot to take in for me during that race. And I dropped the bucket and started like just walking and had to recollect myself before I kept moving forward. So, I mean, it was definitely an experience for me.
Yeah. Do you see yourself as an inspiration for others? Did you ever imagine like you would have this amazing, tribe of followers that follow you, that see you as this inspiring man who's like this amazing person? Did you ever feel that you would be that person, and how does that benefit you and them?
No. I mean, I never once viewed myself as a person that was looking to be inspirational at all. I think, if anything, I looked at my past struggles and my past failures and everything, and I struggled with that part of my life more than anything, and I just didn't view that as being something that people would look up to and to look at as inspirational. I think, it was just one of those things where, as time has gone along, I've learned from my failures. I've tried to become a better person, live my life the right way, and be a better example just for my daughter and for my family and for other people. And, come what may, if people view that as inspirational, I think that's awesome. But it's hard for me to say I'm an inspiring person and put my hands on my hips, but I definitely want to live my life in a way that is an example for others, specifically my daughter. So, I think my past failures and my past, transgressions have made me the person I am today. And without all that, I wouldn't be where I am. So, I think we all have that in our lives. We all have failed at some point. We've all, faced obstacles that we viewed as were too high, too heavy, too hard, and we didn't want to push through. And so if I can be an example for somebody and help them push through their obstacles and be a better example for their families and their communities, then the world's all the better for it.
Yeah. I think is what's amazing about that is your willingness to share your story, and coming from a place that you described of, I didn't talk about my emotions, I didn't talk about those things openly, to now coming on, live radio with the world listening. Like, that is really, that's the key is, everyone has a story, like you said, and there's inspiration and it matters, and it's helpful to share your story, not only for, others to feel inspired, but for you to be able to have an outlet as a, just not you, but you in general as an outlet to just share those things that have helped build you to the person you are today. Fantastic stuff. I still have more questions. We got to go to a quick break.
Okay.
And then we'll come back after Status Quo, Burning Bridges.
The things you do on a lunchtime show. Oh, God, I'm nearly naked now. I've stripped off while that was on.
That was a very, like a song you could dance a jig to.
God, do you want to see what? I hope the neighbours weren't watching then. I'd have got arrested.
I don't even. Oh, Dave. Oh my gosh.
Well, you don't have Morris dancing in the States, do you? And you're going, what the hell's he on about? Right? It's blokes that tie. They have bells on the knees and on the shoes. And they skip to one another, and they swing round handkerchiefs in their hands, and they wear stupid hats, and they got sticks in their hands as well. Right?
No, that sounds like a riot.
Right. Oh, you've not lived till you've seen it. Trust me. If you Google it, go on YouTube and put in Morris dancing. You'll hit the floor laughing. It'll be one of the best. It'll be one of the best days of your life when you're watching it, thinking, "What the hell are they thinking of doing?"
Well, I've got a spare moment today, I'm gonna do that.
Seriously,
do that.
I think they should send us an army of those guys running at ISIS, because ISIS would just run over the hills and never be seen again if you saw that running at you.
Oh my
gosh.
Oh, right, over to you.
Okay, yes, we have very limited time, and I have just a few more questions that I want to ask Jason Wood here on the Heartbeat. So, like I said, I have tons of questions, and I'm just going to jump into one that's really important for me, and I think the world to hear, and for maybe you to talk about. And you have an amazing little girl. Yep. And I've seen the pictures. You've talked to me about her. You've told us a little bit about her. What do you think she would say if I asked her about you? What do you think she would say?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I think she would say, I hope that she would say, is my father's a loving man. He does everything he can, and she's 4, so she's probably not going to say it this great. Mm-hmm. but she I hope she says, I'm a loving man. I do everything I can to provide for her and to make her life as stable and as fulfilling as possible, and that Daddy's always got her back no matter what, and that and that at the end of the day, I'm somebody that she can count on, and that I'm a man that she can look to as an example for how, for her future relationships, and how a man should be and react and treat her. And so, I want to be more than just daddy to her. I want to be that example to her as well. And I think and I hope that I'm showing her that.
Yeah. Oh, I can see it. Like the pictures that you post, but you could just see in her eyes just this. She just adores that moment with you. So I just had to ask that question.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then, but can I ask you about the Wolverine? Like, what's the story behind the name Wolverine?
Well, that came from I used to Bic shave my head bald, and of course with the no beard clause that's in the military in the United States. I basically was clean shaven, no hair on my head, no hair on my face. And so when I started growing hair out and I started growing a beard, a lot of people would start walking up to me in the street and just randomly at races and things saying, "Hey, you kind of look like Hugh Jackman from Wolverine." And so, and then as my body kind of progressed over time, and I started to get a little bit leaner and more in shape, that comparison started making itself a little bit more prevalent.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny how people get named. Like, I love it. And so my next question, and this question is a little selfish on my part because I am signing up to do Tough Mudder, my first ever serious. I did a tiny little one last year. It's called the Muddy Princess last year, where us chicks rolled around in the mud, which was really fun. So we decided that we would try that to see if it was anything remotely close to what we wanted to, if we even wanted to do the Tough Mudder. But we are going to do the Tough Mudder in August. And so what advice would you give to someone like me and my group of people who are wanting to do an obstacle course race for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I think I raced that fun run in the open division yesterday, or Sunday. Jeez, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And got a chance to talk to a few folks, and my message to them was just have fun with it. This is an experience that you're going to learn from. It's going to be painful at times. It's going to be, you're going to have moments where you're going to have to learn to adapt a little bit, and it's not going to be quite what you expected. But at the end of the race, I promise you're going to look back at it and say, I enjoyed that. I overcame so many obstacles. I did things that I didn't think I was capable of, and I want to do it again. And I think that's my primary advice. I mean, at this point, everybody, at the point where you're racing, you've put in the training, you've put in the work. Now have fun. Now it's time to have fun with it, and then the reflection at the end is going to be the piece that's going to really, I guess, resonate the most.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I think it's a little bit scary and a little bit excited, and they all kind of feel the same as emotion. So I appreciate that. So how can people follow you? Where can they connect with you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, my username is @JFloydWoods, so all one word, JFLOYDWOOD. And then also I have a profile on Obstacle Edge, and that's where we kind of collect all of my podcast interviews that I've done, my blog that I'm going to start working on, my YouTube channel, everywhere there. So Obstacle Edge is kind of the single point of contact for a lot of things I do. Okay,
that's awesome. And is that an app or a website or?
It's a website. So obstacle, it's all one word again, obstacleedge.com. So EDGE after the word obstacle, and you'll be able to find a lot of the obstacle course racers that are out there in the world today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Once you and I connected, for some reason, Instagram, shows people, oh, you might be interested. And I think I had maybe 7 or 8 people start following me. I was like, wait, they don't know I'm not an obstacle person. Like, I don't know how this is working. Like, and I've met a couple of them, and they're very, very cool. So I'm excited to get to know a couple more of them. And so you told us a little bit about what's next, but what's next for you?
Yeah, I think, as far as my life, I think, this year I'm hoping to at least get as close as possible by December to finishing my PhD, if not done. So hopefully come 2020, I'll be Dr. Wood. We'll see.
Awesome.
Yeah, but so there's that. And then from an obstacle course race perspective, I'm really just looking to keep improving over time, and hopefully there's some championship races in my future coming this fall, and just continue to better myself. I think there's a lot there to gain, and I'm looking to keep just improving. And then there's some other things that are coming up. I'm hoping to be on a few more podcasts. There's actually Men's Health Magazine reached out to me last month and wanted to maybe put me in May's the May issue. So coming maybe in less than 2 weeks when they release that, I might be in that magazine.
I hope there's a pull out for
cool.
that, because Saunders will want that on her office wall. So she can look at you every day. She'll be like, So yeah, I mean, I think just to keep improving as a person, keep finding ways to give back to the community, and just keep being a good example for my daughter. I think those are the main 3 goals, and then whatever happens after that is just icing on the cake.
Fantastic. Super fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope people connect with you. And for sure, if you guys just follow him on Instagram, fun content, funny content. It's really inspiring. I love to see your story every day. It's really awesome to look at. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you for getting up, well, not so early anymore, for a little while on this show. And Dave, thanks for having us.
You're welcome. And if you've seen anyone that lives near Saunders, if you see her running up and down the sidewalk with 2 handbags in both hands, you know that she's in high heels. You know that she's in training for this.
Tough Mudder.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry buckets in the Tough Mudder. Thank God.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my gosh. Well, our last song is Kylie Minogue, Radio On, and thank you so much. Have a brilliant, wonderful day, everyone. Talk to you guys soon.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Take care.
Thanks, Dave. Bye.
Adios.